Hello everybody, this is finally the 100 subscriber Q&A that I've been promising for literally about a month now. I did try to film this before with a friend of mine, but of course it didn't work out very well because my PlayStation cannot be trusted. I was using it to record voice and you know what, we just won't go there because there was a lot of cursing. Just a lot of cursing. So big thank you to Gamer First Class for at least trying to make the video with me. I do apologize that it didn't work out. Again, it's not even the first time we tried to make a video together, and once again, it was my PlayStation that failed. Obviously, there's something wrong with the recording feature, but I feel terrible all the same. So big shout out to him, and if you don't know him, link down in the description, as will there be links to everyone who asked a question. Their channel links will be down in the description as well, so go check out everybody, because everyone on here is amazing. Okay, first question is from, and I do apologize in advance if I completely slaughter your name. It's not intentional, I promise. So first question is from Raishu J Gaming, and he asks, if it doesn't have a tail and it's not a monkey, if it doesn't have a tail, it's an ape. If it doesn't have a tail, it's not a monkey. If it doesn't have a tail, it's not a monkey, it's an ape. Do you agree? Now, when I made this tweet, I did ask for the weirder the better. And my friend, you delivered. Apparently, because I was talking to a friend about this, apparently it's a song from VeggieTales. I purposely have not listened to it. So, because I wanted to give this kind of a more organic reaction to that. Of course, right after this video, I'm definitely going to listen to it. But, yeah, I am going to go, the ultimate answer is no. Because even though if it has a tail, it is a monkey. And if it doesn't have a tail, it's an ape. That is how you identify it. That's only for ape-like creatures. Because, like, right here, I have a can of Mountain Dew. It does not have a tail. I don't believe it is an ape. You know what? I should have asked it. But I haven't, and I'm going to assume, therefore, that it is not an ape. So I'm going to go with ultimately the answer being no. I don't know. As I said, I haven't listened to the song, so I'm sure there's something else to it, but just kind of going in blind, I have to go with no. The next question is from Geekdom, and he's asking me two questions, which I love. By all means, anytime I do any kind of Q&A or anything, by all means, ask me as many questions as you like. His first question is, what got you into gaming? That's a complicated question, actually, because, I mean, I've been gaming ever since I was a little kid. 2-3 years old, probably, I picked up a controller for the Sega Genesis or the Sega Mega Drive, and I played for as long as I could. I did a brief stint on PC after that, which I didn't particularly care for, and I wound up switching over to Nintendo after that, and I went to the GameCube. Then I got to high school, and my years through middle school were, as you can imagine, I was not the popular child. So when I got to high school, I went to a new school, and I wanted to kind of start off on the right foot, so I kind of stopped gaming, pretty much. With the exception of a few games here and there with friends, like Mario Kart. I had a friend that was into Mario Kart, so we used to play that on the Wii. And so that kind of thing, yes, but proper, like, sitting down and playing a game like I always used to and I do now, no. Because it's just not popular, and I'm a girl playing video games, so it's extra awkward. Girls don't want to talk to you because they don't have anything in common with you, and boys don't want to talk to you because I guess you still have cooties. So it's a very weird situation. So I gave up gaming for a period of time, and then it was 2015. The Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup. I told you, this is weird. The Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup, and as I'm sure some of you know, I'm a massive hockey fan. And I do love the Chicago Blackhawks, and I adore Jonathan Toews in particular on the Blackhawks. And the cover of NHL 16 was going to be him with the Stanley Cup. I had to have this game. Like, I just had to have it. So, I was looking, and of course, oddly enough, the last system I had was the Wii. It wasn't available on the Wii. So, I had to do something, and my mother just kind of looks at me and goes, "You gave up gaming years ago so that you would fit in high school." Which, by the way, you still didn't do. So, pick out a new system, and we'll talk about it. Maybe we can get it for you for Christmas kind of thing. And that is exactly what happened. I decided on the PlayStation 4, because at that time I didn't have internet. It's a long story. As I said, the Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup. It was about 2 days later my life kind of fell apart, and that's what turned me into the bitter, cynical person now. That's what turned me into who I am today. But there will be more on the Blackhawks winning the cup later, oddly enough, based on more questions. But she was true to her word. She and my sister got me a PlayStation 4 for Christmas. And I still had another semester of school to go, so I wound up not playing very much. I was in a terrible state of depression. And then it was the summer, and I had time. So I decided to pick it up, and it was actually Uncharted that came with the system. That was the first game I picked up. And I absolutely fell in love with it. And I just forgot how much I loved gaming. I just really did. So now I'm here again, and I ain't ever going back. I'm never gonna stop. This is what I was supposed to be doing all my life. And I missed a console of generations out of pure and utter stupidity. So, Geekdom's next question is, as your name is GameRaider, which game franchise would you raid, and what is it that you would take? I would have to go with Tomb Raider, which is kind of how the channel got the name. There is another question about that I will get to. But I would have to pick Tomb Raider for that. And I would take I know in one game, I can't remember for the life of me which one it is, she has a T-Rex skull, like, over her fireplace. I would take that. But instead of over my fireplace, I would just have it, like, over my bed or something. You know, right above the headboard or something, I don't know. But yeah, I would have to go with Tomb Raider and some kind of dinosaur skull, whether it be the Velociraptors or wait until Laura kills them, because I'm not doing that. I'm not that brave. But maybe go in there afterward and and just nick a skull from one of the corpses. That sounds dark. Okay, next questions are from Who is Skippy? What is the weirdest thing you've done when drunk? Okay, now we are heading back to the Blackhawks winning the Stanley Cup. And I actually had to think about it to think if I was actually of legal age in 2015, and sadly I was. So I can tell this story. So the Blackhawks win the Stanley Cup, and I celebrated a bit too hard. I'm about, just to give you an idea, at the time, I'm still 4'11", of course. So yeah, I'm short. At the time I weighed, about 110, 115 pounds. I had nothing to eat that day, because one does not eat during the playoffs. There are too many nerves involved. One does not eat. One simply does not eat during the playoffs. So, empty stomach. I'm a small person. It went straight to my head. We cracked open a bottle of champagne. I'm with my sister and my mother. And my mother's on the phone, so she's not drinking anything. My sister, on the other hand, the two of us crack that open and we polish it off ourselves. My sister is smarter than I am and actually knows her limit. I did not at the time. So I drank, and after that bottle was finished, then I cracked open a bottle of wine. And yeah, I drank my dinner that night and spent the rest of it just utterly miserable. And there were good things and bad things about this. The good things, I suppose, were I, of course, went shopping, because I had to buy everything that, basically, if it said the Chicago Blackhawks are the 2015 Stanley Cup champions, I bought it. So I didn't remember what I bought. So by the time the packages came, it was like Christmas. It was amazing. The bad things, however, were, well, obviously, the hangover. Nobody told me that I could get drunk and hungover at the same time. That was not fun. It was an interesting experience. And I wound up, I did not pass out on the bathroom floor, but I did lay down for a while. So yeah, that wasn't fun. But the question is the craziest thing or the weirdest thing? The weirdest thing I've done drunk. And I would have to say I somehow wound up falling down while I was sitting. I didn't, like, fall over, I just kind of fell. I don't really know how. I was kind of, like, sitting on my foot and I fell off of it. There was that, and then my mother was recording me. She thought it would be fun to record me drunk and send it to a friend of mine. And once I realized she was recording me, I called her the C word. Or, allow me to reference Sex and the City here. And, say, I'll Schoolhouse Rock it. I will say I called her a see you next Tuesday. This is not a word I use when sober. That is not a word I have ever again used when drunk. So I don't really know where it came from, but it came from a very bad place, obviously. So yeah, I called my own mother something very, very bad. And she, of course, didn't care, because she's not that kind of person. And also, I was drunk, so she didn't care. But yeah, that, I would say, I'm a very boring person. That is honestly the weirdest thing I've ever done drunk. I mean, aside from what, dancing at a wedding? That's not really that weird, is it? And, he said if you don't want to answer that, which obviously I have no problem answering. What is the weirdest thing you've ever seen in person? My house flooded in, Hurricane Sandy, which was in 2012. So, I was living in a retirement village for a period of time. It was my grandparents' house. One was dead, the other one was in a nursing home. And, my uncles then owned it, my uncles and father. And they had no problem with me staying there for at least a while. And, so I was staying there. And, as I said, it was a retirement village. And I saw a sign for hot air balloon rides. I never actually saw a hot air balloon, but I did see advertisements for rides, which I did find very strange in a retirement village. That's just not something you think of. You think of, you know, just classically in your head, you think of, like, bingo halls and stuff like that. Obviously, the people in this area were a bit more adventurous than I realized, because, I mean, they were there, so... I mean, I'd say go for it, personally. I want to be that kind of old person. I mean, I'm not that kind of young person. I'm not that young, but... I am not that kind of person now. I don't think I will be when I'm 90, so... I say more power to ya. Okay, next question comes from Nacho Cat. And she says, I'd love to ask, how did you choose your channel name and icon? I touched on it a little bit. I am a huge Tomb Raider fan, of course, and I don't know, I'm not an overly creative person, so GameRaider just kind of went with the flow. And if you guys have been around long enough to remember my old icon that just very badly made, that I made myself, it was absolutely pitiful. It was just a T-Rex in blue, and it said GameRaider in red on a white background. It was boring, it was plain, and it was crap. Which is why I had it done professionally. But yeah, that the dinosaur also came from Tomb Raider. So yeah, that... I mean, I'm sorry, it's nothing more fun than that. I remember watching Blazing Camel's, I think, oh god, was it his 100th subscriber? It couldn't have been. Because he's blown up since then. But I remember watching his, one of his Q&As, and he said, and somebody asked if we got his name, and it was this amazing story about strategy, and I'm looking going, god, my story is lame. So yeah, unfortunately it's nothing cool and exciting, it's just a kind of a play on Tomb Raider. My favorite series of all time is actually Uncharted, but I couldn't come up with anything clever for that. Not that GameRaider is clever, mind you. but I couldn't come up with nothing. So I went with my second favorite. And it actually worked out really well, because I absolutely love my little dinosaur logo. Because I absolutely love dinosaurs. And she asks another question. What is your favorite game of all time, or top 5? This is a list that's going to change every 5 minutes, honestly. I'm gonna give a top 5 just because choosing one is so unfair. And I've always been this way. I'm also a huge movie buff, and that's a question people always ask me, and I'm like, can I just give you a list of like 25 movies? So I'll do the top 5, and as I said, that could change. If you ask this again at some point during a live stream or whenever, it could very easily be a different answer. But I will go with, because as I said, Uncharted is my favorite game series, I will go with Lost Legacy from that one. Just because the banter back and forth, and minor spoiler alert, at one point you ride an elephant. That automatically puts you above most games. Another one I will say will be World of Illusion. I did just live stream that. That's a game from my childhood that I absolutely adore. I would never forgive myself if I couldn't put that on here. The next one I will go with is Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, which I heard there is some kind of Kickstarter or something going on for them to remake those 3 games. Yes, please. Would love that. Just putting my 2 cents in there. I would absolutely love a remake of Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. I loved that game. As a kid that wanted to be Steve Irwin when they grew up, I loved Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. Set in Australia, it had all these creatures, some of which are extinct, obviously. Tasmanian tigers are extinct. But other ones, your boss, your main enemy in this is Boss Cass, who's a cassowary. And still, to this very day, cassowaries are my favorite bird. It's probably weird to have a favorite bird, but trust me, I have a favorite bird, and it's a cassowary, because they're amazing. They have bright green eggs. Look them up. They're amazing birds. Anyway, moving on. Mine, as my namesake is after Tomb Raider, I feel I have to choose a Tomb Raider game now, don't I? So my favorite Tomb Raider game, then, would be Rise of the Tomb Raider. I just love it. The snowy sections, it improved on, I think it was 2013, the definitive edition of Tomb Raider came out. It improved on that. It had only a little bit of the hub worlds that Shadow of the Tomb Raider had, which I actually did not care for. I didn't like the hub worlds. It didn't feel like Tomb Raider. But it had a really good balance as far as I'm concerned. So I adored Rise of the Tomb Raider. So I will say that one. And I cannot not put this on the list. BioShock. I haven't played this on the channel yet, and God, I really should. I adore BioShock. It's hard to say whether I preferred the original BioShock or Infinite, but I'm gonna go with the original one because it's underwater. And I just love the undersea life. That's my jam. So yeah, I have to go with the original BioShock. I loved that game so much. It had some horror elements. It had tons of action. It had incredible guns. Everything in that game was just amazing. Awesome superpowers. So yeah. I think that's 5, isn't it? Yes, I have them written down. Lost Legacy, World of Illusion, Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and BioShock. Okay. Good, that's 5. I counted right. I'm smart. Okay, so next question is from Sam Shadow Gaming, and he asks, what motivated you to start doing YouTube videos? Kind of a weird story, I guess, in this one. I had already graduated college, and I was supposed to be going back to grad school, and I wasn't thrilled with the idea. I was studying for the GRE, and I was getting quite frustrated. The GRE is kind of, if you don't know, it's kind of like the SATs, but for grad school. And you don't take any standardized tests in college, so I hadn't taken anything like that since high school. So it definitely took some studying, and I was getting quite frustrated and just annoyed with the whole thing. And I wasn't sure if this is what I really wanted to do, and I was just getting kind of overwhelmed by the whole thing. My own personal history kind of taught me that as I'm in school, when I'm in school, I don't play games. Even when I was a kid, like, I would play them on weekends, or over the summer is when I really used to play. But okay, I would play it on weekends sometimes too, but nothing big deal. I never ever played it during the week, if I had school the next day, ever. Because it was always seen as the irresponsible choice, and, you believe that kind of crap when you're a kid. It's, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. It's a saying for a reason, and it's absolutely true, but as a kid, you fall into that. And I didn't want to fall into that trap again, especially not going to grad school when things are going to get more stressful. Gaming for me is a big release of that. So I wanted to make sure I would keep playing. So I made a YouTube channel saying, well, no matter what, I will have to keep playing. I will have to keep uploading videos here and there. Even if I just play on weekends, like I used to as a kid, I will have videos to edit during the week or something like that. It'll give me some kind of an outlet outside of just school all the time. So, yeah, again, boring story. I'm sorry. I said it was interesting at the beginning, didn't I? It wasn't. It was depressing. But yeah, that's why I started. To keep my sanity in grad school, which, by the way, I'm still not in grad school, and I've kind of given up on that because I don't really want to do it. I've changed my mind. We are entitled to do that. There is no reason why you have to do everything that you set out to do. Your dreams change, and there is nothing wrong with that. Just putting that out there for anyone who's younger than me, who's kind of going through a crisis. Because when I was going through that crisis, I had a hell of a time. Next question is from Azuru Plays, and this is a doozy. If you could listen to one song for the rest of your life, what would it be? Now, I will tell you, you're big on these questions. I was just watching 2-Bit Gaming's 100 subscriber video. And you asked a similar question to that. I think it was like, if you could only play one game for the rest of your life, what would it be? So, I know you're big on these. And again, this is another one of those questions that it would change every 5 minutes. But, there is a new CD that just came out, so I have to go with this. And I am about to lose every cool point you guys have ever given me. But I am a huge Taylor Swift fan. Sorry, but I am. But yes, since Taylor Swift came out with a new album, I feel obligated. I don't actually feel obligated to. I'm going to pick the song that, at the moment, I cannot stop listening to. And that is Death by a Thousand Cuts, which is on the newest album, Lover. I have to go with that song. It's just so upbeat and peppy, and that bridge. Oh my god, that bridge. It's just amazing. If you haven't listened to it, I would highly recommend it. And I know a lot of you don't like Taylor Swift. I get it. I just happen to love her. So, as I said, lost all my cool points, and that's okay with me. Suddenly I'm hemorrhaging subscribers. My next questions are from Valencio on Twitter, or No Talent Guy on YouTube. You should go check him out on both. You should go check all of these people out on both. Just putting that out there. And he asks me, what made you start YouTube? Which I did already go into. I thought somebody else asked that question. I wasn't sure, but I thought so. Yes, but that was just to keep my sanity. Keep my sanity in grad school. And his second question is, what is your goal in YouTube? In all honesty, I don't have a goal. If I can just put out decent content, if I can brighten someone's day, even if it's just for a couple minutes, or make somebody smile, that is enough for me. If the channel gets bigger, that would be amazing. If I can make a couple bucks off it, that would be great. I mean, just some pocket money would be absolutely incredible and mind-blowing to me. I don't actually think it would ever become a career. I mean, if it ever has that possibility, I am so jumping in head first. Because I would absolutely love that. I'm not counting on that. I highly doubt it will happen, but honestly, what I have right now is enough. If, people like the content that I make, that is enough for me. And if I stumble and I screw up, I definitely want you guys to tell me that, because I want to make good content. That's my goal for YouTube. is to just make good content, have fun, and maybe put a smile on somebody's face. That's honestly it. Third question is, do you plan on live streaming someday? Obviously, yes, I do. This video was supposed to be long before I started live streaming, but yes, I did do a live stream already of World of Illusion, as I referenced earlier, and I do have every intention of doing more of that. The Let's Plays I have now are that very episodic type, and I plan on continuing doing that, but with main missions really almost exclusively, and then taking side quests and saving those up and doing live streams for when, I need to level up and stuff like that. And I think that would be a fun way of doing it. This way people can kind of jump in and tell me which quests they want to see as it's happening, or if you haven't gotten caught up with mine, or if you're playing it yourself, and you don't want any story spoilers. I think this might be a fun way of doing it. This way you don't have to worry about that kind of thing. So I do absolutely plan on doing more live streams in the future. So, very basic question, which just required a yes answer, and I went on a tangent. The next questions are from Gamer First Class. Now, for everybody else, I've been actually putting up the questions that they sent me on Twitter. I can't do that with him because he asked me these questions while we were trying to record the video the first time. So I have them written down. So he asked me, what other content am I planning on creating, if I'm planning on creating other types of content? The answer is yes, I am absolutely planning on it. I did do a top 5 video that I did for a job interview that I didn't get, so I posted it up on my own channel because I don't know, I guess I might as well use it. I made it. So, that is there. It's, like a top 5 list feature kind of thing. I would love to do more of that kind of thing. I do have every intention of doing some more of that. I plan on continuing doing the Let's Plays. I plan on doing live streams, as I said earlier, and a completely different kind of video that I've never done before. Okay, so basically, little something about me here. This entire video is about me, but a little extra tidbit here. Something I tend to do is when I hear something, when I hear a phrase or a reference to something that I don't fully understand, or maybe I've never heard of it at all, whatever the case may be, I have a tendency of Googling my life away. I spend hours researching the dumbest things on the planet. I once heard somebody use the phrase non-Euclidean, and I finally found myself 3 hours later coming out almost like an expert on Euclidean versus non-Euclidean geometry. This is just what I do. And after I have acquired all of this knowledge, I had absolutely no use for it, because where would Euclidean versus non-Euclidean geometry ever come up in everyday conversation, I ask you? So, it's one of those things. I have that kind of information just rolling around in my head, and what did I use it for before? Absolutely ruining other people's parties and self-imploding on first dates. So, I might as well make productive use of this information and make YouTube videos. And especially if it's, only if it's inspired by a video game. If it's inspired by a game and I'm look it up because of that, I will make a video on it because I think it might be fun. I don't know, maybe it'll only be fun for me, and if they don't pan out, then I will stop making videos, because as I said, I want to make good quality content. I hope they do well, but if they don't, they don't. And I'm working on one right now, which the script has been thrown out about 5,000 times for. But if I can actually get a solid script done, that will go up soon, and I'm very excited about that. I hope that does well. But as I said, if it doesn't, it doesn't. I want quality content. That's what's important to me. But his last question was, what is my next Let's Play going to be? And my answer to that is Twitter will decide. Twitter decided We Happy Few, and I plan on doing that again. So when I finish up one of the 3 games that I am playing, I do plan on having another thing on Twitter. So if you don't follow me on Twitter, you might want to do that so that you can help decide what game I'm going to play next. I'll give a choice of 3, 4, 5 games, whatever. And you choose whichever one you want to see me play next. Okay, and my last questions are from 2-Bit Gaming. What has been your highlight as a creator so far? Honestly, it's the community. I never thought I would find such... You know, you always hear that I'm not a big social media person. I never was before the channel. And you always hear how toxic Twitter is, and Twitter can be toxic sometimes. Yes, absolutely. But in all honesty, my experience has been amazing because of you guys. You guys are absolutely amazing. Everyone has been just incredibly... I have run out of words. I have absolutely no words to describe you guys. That's how fantastic you guys are. It's no question, it's the community. So thank you. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for everything. Because it's you guys. That's my highlight. And the last question is, what in your opinion is the most underrated game in recent memory? I assume you mean from this generation. And I'm gonna have to go with Recore on the Xbox One. I don't think that one was released on the PC. I think that was an Xbox One exclusive. If you haven't played it and you have an Xbox, seriously, play it, because it's really good. When it came out, it was glitchy. It was not broken, I wouldn't say. It did kind of stop being fun after a while, to be honest, because it was so glitchy. I remember it saving at weird places, things with the HUD would go awry. There were definitely issues, no question. But they did come out with updates, and they did fix things, and they added expansions completely for free, so they really did make good on it. And I know people are not so forgiving when it's like, oh, I paid full price for this game, and it's glitchy and it doesn't work. I completely understand that. I think I'm just old. Because I remember a time when I remember buying games that were glitchy and didn't work and were essentially broken. And there were no updates. So if you bought a glitchy piece of junk, you got stuck with a glitchy piece of junk. So now, when it happens today, it doesn't get to me. Because I know there's going to be an update and I know I will be able to play it. That's just me. I know I'm very easygoing anyway, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not that critical. I'm not going to give a game a lower score because it doesn't do anything brand new. To me, if a game is fun, that's all that matters. And Recore was a ton of fun from the beginning. Once they fixed the glitches, it was incredible and really, really underrated, and definitely something that everybody should play. It was so much fun. So yeah, that is it. That is all of the questions that you guys sent in. There will be links to everyone's channel down below. Thank you guys so much for asking questions, for watching, for subscribing, for doing everything that you do. Honestly, it means the world to me. Just thank you. I'm absolutely blown away. So thank you guys just so much. I know I'm saying it over and over again. I just can't, as I said before, I cannot put it into words. You guys are fantastic. I thank you for watching, for sticking by me through all of this, through the thick and thin. Just thank you. And that'll be the last time I say it, I promise.